Hey guys, today I have not one, not two, but three mind-boggling positions for you, starting with the one that you see on the screen right now. Let's take a look. All right, so here's the position. White is going forward. It's white to play. What do you think the result of this position should be? Well, if you said a draw, you would be in the category of most people, because that's what I thought. And generally speaking, when you have an endgame like this, it is a draw. Why is that the case? Well, if black can capture this pawn with their knight, even if they have to give up the knight, sacrificing to do it, it's going to be a draw because you cannot win with just a king and a bishop, okay? So the only way that white can win this game is by either trapping this knight somehow and winning the knight while keeping the pawn alive, or by promoting this pawn to a queen without letting black sacrifice the knight for it, right? That's the task. Not easy to do, but let's take a look at how this study starts. And if you'd like to think through, feel free to do so, but I will warn you, these studies are long, and to see through to the end is going to be very difficult, but still go ahead and pause if you would like and make your guess. What's white's first move? All right, if you said king to c5, you are correct. And this is kind of the start of this entire idea. And the whole point behind this study is we're trying to hunt down and trap the knight, okay? So next move, we would like to play king to c6, which is going to take control of these two squares. The knight would be stuck in the corner, and we would simply move to b7 and capture it, right? So because of that, black has to move to c7. There's no question there. King to d6. All right, again, we're attacking the knight. Of course, it doesn't want to go back to the corner, or we do exactly like I mentioned. We also have the bishop cutting it off here, our king cutting it off here. And so again, black's move is forced, knight to e8, check. All right, now it kind of looks like the knight is escaping, but we're going to play king to e7. Now, again, these options are not available to black. It has to go to either c7 or to g7. First of all, the easy option for us, if it goes to here, we simply play king to f7, and regardless of what black does, we have a winning idea. If you'd like to pause and think through what's white's winning idea, regardless of what move black plays. Well, if you had a chance to look at that and you said push the pawn and checkmate the king, you would be correct. So black, first of all, can't move the king anywhere. It's stuck in the corner. They can try to bring the knight over, but it's just too slow. We simply play g6, and then it doesn't matter where the knight moves anywhere. We simply play g7, checkmate. All right, so that's pretty fun. Checkmate with a pawn. Okay, so because of that, knight c7 does not work, and black has to go over to g7. And this, I mean, this looks like a pretty nice blockade for black, right? Like they've got the knight in front of the pawn, defended by the king, on opposite colors from our bishop. How in the world can we make progress, right? Like, what are we going to do? Well, check it out. We're going to play the move bishop to g6. Why are we going here? I want you to look at this knight. Can it move anywhere? The answer is no. If the knight moves anywhere, we take it. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, it means black has to move the king. All right, so king to g8. And now we go bishop to f7, check. And the king, again, has to move. There's two options. King to h8 actually makes our life a little bit easier, and I'll show you why. If they go to h8, we simply play king to f6, and again, the knight is still trapped. Okay, notice how if the knight tries to move anywhere, we're going to take it, which means the king has to move. And now we play king to e5, and again, black's in the same situation. The knight can't move, right? And so the king just has to basically shuffle back and forth. It's the only thing black can do. We come over here. Again, knight can't move. Come over here. And now I want you to pause, and what's the winning move for white? Why did we maneuver our king all the way over here? What was our plan? Well, if you had a chance to look at that, the move is g6. And this is incredible because the king is now stuck and has no moves. And remember that knight that we talked about that didn't want to move because it was going to get captured? Now it has to move. And it doesn't matter where it goes. We're simply going to take it. And then we go into a winning pawn and bishop endgame. All right, so pretty amazing, right? So let's go back, though, for a second, because like I said, that was if black played the move king to h8. But a better move would be to play king to h7. Because now, if we try to do the exact same thing, so come over here, black goes back, come over here, black goes back, come over here, come over here. Notice the difference. Now, if we play g6, it's not the same position because black's king's on h7. And if we come too far over here, we allow the knight to escape, which is not what we want to do. So what do? How do we win this position? Do you have any ideas? All right, well, if you had a chance to look at that, let's go back a few moves. And remember, we're looking here if black plays king h7. Okay, well, we can still go to f6. We can still go to e5. And now, check it out. Here's the winning idea. Instead of going directly like this, we do something called triangulation, which I have mentioned on the channel, but it's a way to use your king to lose a move. Okay, we're going to go to e4 because we still need to keep control of the square. We still want to head here eventually, but we want to just take an extra move along the way, right? So instead of going 1, 2, we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And what that is going to do is put the tempo back in our favor so that now after king to h8, we can simply play g6 and we have the winning idea. I mean, is that not fascinating, guys? Like, let's just go back to the start. This knight, all it has to do is somehow either sacrifice for this pawn or blockade the pawn without getting trapped. And it couldn't do it. And we end up in this position where the knight has to be captured. Amazing, right? All right, let's look at the next one. All right, so here's the next position. Again, white is going this way. Black is going this way. It's white to play. And what do you think the result of this position should be? Well, if you had a chance to look at that, normally it would be a draw because all you have to do is sacrifice for the pawn somehow, and that's just it. White's going to do the same thing, sacrifice for here. We end up with a draw, right? White plays d6, obviously trying to get a queen. And so black has to say, okay, well, I can't let it go to d7 because I need to use my bishop to capture it. So how do I do that? Well, you have two options, right? You have to either go to e6 or to e8. So let's start with bishop to e6 because this is black's worst move because we fork the pieces. And even though it looks like black might be able to make a run with the king, it's not quite going to work because after this, we simply play king to e5, defend our pawn. And even if black tries to make a run for it, we have check, back to c2, and we successfully stop the pawn. We've got this defended, and this is going to be a win for white. All right, so because of that, black has to play bishop to e8, stopping our pawn this way. So we play knight to f6, attacking the bishop. It's got to move somewhere, and keep in mind it has to keep guarding the square because otherwise we simply push, and this is the only chance this bishop has to stop it, right? So it has to go to one of these two squares. Can't go anywhere else. First of all, if it goes to b5, we simply play king to c5, and this is a zugzwang where the bishop is stuck. Either the king has to move and we capture it, or the bishop has to move off of this diagonal and we simply get a queen. So because of that, black plays bishop to c6, and now when we play king to c5, bishop to b5, and it's our turn, and we can't, lose a tempo with our knight, and so we have to figure out what else are we going to do. So we play king to b6, still keeping the pressure on the bishop, but we do open up the square, and now black can slide over with the king. All right, so now is where it gets pretty interesting. Knight to d5, check. All right, where does the king need to go? Well, if it goes this way, we've got a fork. All right, and we're picking up the bishop, so like this. Not what black wants to do, so they have to play king to c4. And now we go check. And again, king has to keep guarding the bishop, so it has to go here, check. And if the king goes this way, now we have a fork here. Sorry, here. So black has to go back to a4. So notice how we just jumped our knight around, and all black could do was just kind of, go like back and forth like this with the king. Pretty funny, right? So the king ends up here. So we go king to c7, getting ready to escort the pawn, but more importantly, putting black into kind of a weird situation. The pawn is blockaded and can't move. The king can't move here or here, which means the only move that black has, if they don't want to move the bishop, is king here, but then it walks into the fork, and our pawn is going to become a queen much faster than black's, which means black has to move the bishop, but remember, you have to keep the bishop on guarding this square, so the only place to go is bishop to e8. All right. King to d8, again, chasing the bishop, trying to get it off of this diagonal so that we can push the pawn. Now, if it goes back to b5, we simply come over to e7, and after bishop c6, we play knight to d4, and finally, there are no options for the bishop. Okay, fine. And again, also on bishop to c6, we simply play knight to d4. Again, black has the same problem. They have to get off of the diagonal. All right. So what does black do? Black plays bishop to h5. And the point here is that if we were to play d7 now, black simply goes bishop to g4, and since our king is blockading it, black's going to take and get the draw. Okay, so what do we do instead? Knight e3. We're taking away the square from the bishop. So now black plays bishop to e2, trying to come around this way and do the exact same thing. So again, if we were to play d7, black comes over here. Again, it's a draw. All right, so black is being very stubborn, putting up quite the fight. So here we play king to e7, and now we are threatening to play d7 and get a queen because our king is no longer blocking the pawn, right? So black has to play bishop to b5 to prevent that. And now if you'd like to pause and find the one winning move for white in this position. All right, if you had a chance to do that, the only winning move here for white is knight to c2. And it's a crazy idea, but the idea is that, number one, we're taking away these squares from the king. If it goes to b3, it walks into the fork that I mentioned earlier, where we simply trade the bishop and then we get our queen, which means black has to make a bishop move. But again, they have to keep guarding this. Can't go here or here, which means the only move is bishop to c6. And then we play knight to d4, and black is out of tricks finally, because anywhere the bishop goes has to leave this diagonal, and we simply get the queen. I mean, that was like 13 moves of dancing around with our knight and our king, all trying to accomplish the same thing of getting the bishop off of the diagonal. And finally we did it, and there was no way for black to prevent it, which is pretty amazing, right? When you think about it. Like the last position, okay, it's like, all right, it's a knight, it was in the corner, you know, it's kind of limited. But in this position, it's like a bishop. Of all pieces, bishops are usually really good at just kind of like staying out of the way, you know, getting somewhere far away and just monitoring. Couldn't do it because of how we positioned our knight, along with the fact that black had some issues with their king over here, right? So pretty amazing stuff when you actually think about it. Most people would just immediately assume that these positions would be draws, and they're just not. So if you enjoyed that one, you're going to really enjoy this one. This is the final one I have for you. Let's take a look at position number 3. Now, it is white to play. White is going forward. Black is going this way. And before I say too much, what do you think the result of this position should be? All right, if you had a chance to look at that, I'll go ahead and tell you this is a win for white, despite the fact that white is down a rook. Right now, white does have the 2 pawns, which are somewhat, you know, passed, but there's an extra rook over here for black. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on here. So rook to a6 check. The king is stuck on the side here, so black has to block with the rook. And now we play f7, getting ready to get a queen. And if you look carefully, black has no pieces that can stop this. The knight can't, the rook can't. And so the only thing black can do is to give up the rook right now. Now, if we trade, which we can do with check, and take the rook, this is going to be a draw because black's going to take here. They're threatening our bishop. They're going to be able to sacrifice for this. It's just a draw. We can't do anything at this point. So what do we need to do instead? If you'd like to pause and think through, what do you think the move is here for white? Well, if you had a chance to do that, it's the amazing bishop takes f7. We just leave our rook sitting over there because after black takes it, we've got a follow-up idea. Now, what is the follow-up idea? What do you think we should play here as white? Well, if you said push the pawn to try to get a queen, you would be incorrect. Even though it looks like we have 2 threats, how is black going to stop both of them? Knight d6. And if we get a queen, look at this. Check. Ouch. How's that for a way to lose, right? And then the other thing we could try would be bishop to e8, but black simply plays the amazing knight to f7, sacrificing it. The rook comes over, and ultimately this is going to be a draw. All right. So because of that, the winning move was not d7, but bishop to e8 check first. King moves, and now we push the pawn, threatening again to get a queen. But here's the amazing part of this study. Okay, this is the most amazing moment, so get ready for it. Knight to b6, and you're probably thinking, well, I'm going to get a queen. I don't know what black is doing over here, but this looks really bad. Let's get the queen. We're going to win the game. Until you realize it's a stalemate. This position is a stalemate. There's a bishop. There's the pawn. The knight is pinned. The rook is trapped. The pawn is blockaded. And black has no moves. You just got a draw. Is that not incredible? You can't get a queen. You just can't get a queen. Amazing, right? So what do we do? What do we do in this position? Well, the answer is we get a rook. right? We get a rook. If we can't get a queen, we get the next best thing. We get a rook. But now you're probably saying, well, now it's a rook and a bishop and a pawn against a rook and a knight and a pawn. Isn't that just a draw as well? Not quite. So black has to do something. Remember, the pawn is blockaded. The rook is trapped. And the king can't move. Which means, which piece does black have to move? Well, the knight. Well, you don't want to go here. You don't want to go here. You don't want to go here. So there's only two moves in this position that we have to think about. Knight to a4, knight to c4. Now, if black plays knight to a4, we have rook to d5, check. And after king b6, we can simply go here, trade the rook, and then take the knight. And now we have a winning king and pawn ending. All right. So because of that, going back to this position, only move for black is knight to c4. But now we can play rook to d5, check. King to d6, rook to b5, check. Fork the pieces, but wait, it's not over yet because black makes an attempt to get our bishop. So if we take the knight, he's going to take our bishop. It's going to be a draw. So we go here forking these pieces. It looks like it's over, right? Nope. Black's not done yet. Rook to a5. The idea is that if we take the knight, we lose our rook. And if we take the knight this way, we lose our bishop. Also going to be a draw. So what do we do now? Well, if you had a chance to look at that, the final move is rook to d5, check. And finally, after black moves somewhere, we can take the knight. But wait, there's one more trick. Knight to d6. And if we take it, we're going to lose our bishop. No, we're not. It's with check. And after this, we can just simply come back here. All right. Whew. Wow. So we win the game by some crazy under promotion to a rook to avoid the stalemate that black set up by putting all their pieces in a clump like this. Oh, and we sacrificed a rook along the way. And there was one moment where black let us get a queen because they were going to fork us. And wow, all that with a few pieces left on the board. I mean, chess is amazing, right? So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed those positions as much as I did. I'll see you next time. Stay sharp, play smart, and take care.